All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to, I guess, the first episode of the Finding Yourself podcast, kind of a segment of the Beyond the River podcast. Something I'm actually super excited about as we introduce kind of our guest slash co-host for this episode here in a second. But kind of when I started Beyond the River, it's just kind of something I kind of always imagined is doing something along the lines of this. As when I first started Beyond the River is when I started going through some of the issues that I've had over the past couple of years, and kind of sharing my stories and other people's stories to grow as an individual and help other people grow as well, just beyond fishing. But without further ado, our co-host, the wonderful Jake Smith. You want to say hey?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Kind of introduce yourself, give yourself a little background.
Came from same small town as Tyler, Springfield, New York. Went to school with him, same graduating class. We both were big into sports. I liked wrestling. I was big into that. 3-sport athlete. Pretty good. Like ended with like a 94 average. Went to college at Brockport for 3 years, so that's where I'm at right now. Studied psychology, and here I sit.
And so kind of the main topic, and over the next few weeks we're going to try to dive into a variety of topics that we've gained in our minimal experience. I mean, we're both fairly young, 21, you said you're 22.
22, yeah.
But there's kind of an interesting period, kind of your post-college, kind of in college, especially coming from a small town where you transition and you really have to find yourself. And I especially in this day and age, I think there's kind of a advice where adults necessarily can't really help you out. So I think it'd be cool to kind of get some insight from the two of us.
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
Of some of that. But so kind of what I want to talk about today, more specifically, is kind of how going from a small town to the world kind of, it has positives for sure, but I think there's also a fair number of negatives. I think we've kind of both seen some struggles over the last couple of years because of coming from such a small school. So you went from, because it's different because I went to like a super small university.
Right.
So like I went from Springville to like a second Springville where like I only like kind of, but like there was 1,200 students total at Mansfield. So I mean, you're a step up. How many kids did you have at Brockport?
Oh man, a lot more than that. I mean, I had classes with like 100 kids, 100 plus kids in one classroom, like one big like auditorium lecture hall thing. But, I mean, it's definitely a big transition from going to, like, a class where you know everybody, and you know everybody's brothers, and you know everybody's, like, parents, to going to, like, who are you again? You know, nobody knows your name, no one says hi to you, no one can just, you know, just talk to you in general. It's just kind of, for me, it was, like, I'm not very social, so, like, I go to class, I go back to my dorm, I go to class, go back to my dorm. Don't really have much interaction, and that's what kind of hurt me in a sense, I think.
Yeah, and it's actually funny you say that because I would have always taken you in high school as being someone who's social.
Yeah.
But
in high school it's different though, because you know, like you grow up with people. Like we grew up playing Little League baseball, so we kind of had that connection. Like you just find like little relationships, like whether you're in a club in high school or you're in a sport or a job, whatever, compared to like just out in the world, everybody's just like you. It doesn't know anybody. No one cares to know you. It's just the way it is, I think. You're there to get a degree, and you're there to do whatever you got to do, follow your dreams, and no one's really going to get in your way, you know?
Yeah, and see, I'm the same way where I'm super shy. I don't talk to, I mean, we didn't even talk a lot in high school for that much. Kind of a little bit more in middle school, kind of mostly I'd say through Greg, kind of as a mutual acquaintance.
Oh, yeah.
Plus Little League baseball all the time when we were on the Dodgers and stuff. And
good times.
The championships and stuff that we won there. But the big thing for me was, because I've always kind of had like social anxiety, like growing up to a degree. And like something big for me that I was able to really kind of get out of my shell when I went to college was sports. And like that was, I always had like the following, because I went to college like a week early for training camp, and I had already knew people because I already had a place to sit at the dining hall because we had the track table. So that was a huge help. Now did you enter as a wrestler, or is that something?
Yeah, I entered as a wrestler.
So
yeah.
Did you already kind of have that initial connection with those guys?
I knew only a few people that were just going to Brockport from like around Section 6, the local Buffalo area, who were just interested in Brockport. Some went, some didn't go, so like it was kind of like, who's going? I wasn't really sure. I get there and it's just like, oh, he's here. Oh, he's here. Like I kind of know the faces. I just don't know them personally. I didn't have that connection right away because we started in like the late fall. So
because it's winter.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to start in the late fall because I didn't want to do cross country, but I ended up because my coach was an asshole. But
yeah, see,
that's a different thing. We'll get to that a little later weeks.
I take a shorter summer over like an early break though, because the wrestling team, we always had to come back like the day after New Year's, so that's a stuff.
Yeah, but I had both because
because you did the both.
Because I literally I would run in the fall for cross country, then winter for indoor track, and then outdoor track. So I didn't even get a spring break. I had to I didn't even get to come home. I had to be in Myrtle Beach, which sounds good, but the weather was terrible. It was awful, dude. It was so bad. It's
never good when you have them kind of things planned.
Yeah.
So.
But so where along in your college career did you start to have difficulty? Was it out of the gate? Was it a year or so after? When did you start to kind of the big thing we're getting underlying is mental health issues. Mm-hmm. Is that something you always had through college or kind of developed?
I think it started my freshman year. I developed this analogy, and I don't tell people this, so here you go. You can live 3 lives in college. You can live an academic life, you can live an athletic life, or a social life, but you can only pick 2 of them. So I kind of from high school, had a huge senior year for wrestling. Came in hungry as can be, ready to prove myself. Had dreams, All-American, blah, blah, blah. Got in there. I was still focused from high school. So I think after the freshman season, it was just kind of okay, now I got to wait and wait and wait. And that's really where it started going down for me, is end of freshman year.
Now, you felt like you had to wait for what your freshman year wasn't as successful as you wanted it to be? What were you waiting for?
I started off with 7 losses. So that hurt big time because you're good in high school, obviously, because you're wrestling not kids from just, the area. Now in college, you're wrestling people from all over the country. We had kids from down south, way east by the city. It's just another big group of guys, so you got to be on your top game to wrestle there, and it's kind of hard to establish yourself right away. But after them 7 losses, I kind of kicked myself in the butt and ripped and really worked a lot harder, and ended the season with probably 11 losses or something like that. So it was good for me.
What was the total? Do you know what the total record was?
I'm not sure. Total record.
How many wins did you have?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No. More than 11. I had a winning
record.
record.
Winning record. Yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah. So that's good though. That's obviously you had that. I need to double down, work harder, and so where did it go south from there? Did you come back and have another bad season, or?
Well, it started going bad because I also was in the ROTC program.
Yeah.
So it was very demanding. We had to get up and be there at 5:30. So that wasn't a big deal for me. But, getting to bed early with a bunch of college guys is kind of difficult, And, that really takes away, going out. So I didn't really do that my freshman year. I never really was into drinking, never was into the partying. I kind of just had my goals. I wanted to do good academically. I made the dean's list. I wanted to do it again in the spring. It really started going downhill in the spring because wrestling season ended, and I just had to wait to get that drive back because it almost seems like I need competition to perform at the best academically, athletically, everything. So when I had no competition, I really wasn't competing with anything, and that's when it started going south for me.
And see, that's interesting because I've always kind of, from a very young age, I've had like success in school is a must. And I don't know if that's school that pumped it into me or if that was my parents. But somewhere along the way, like it got like drilled into me that school was important. And it almost manifested that that was the only thing that was important. Where like, I remember like at a young age, like when I came home from the summer, like I genuinely didn't enjoy the summer. Like as a kid, like I always talked shit, like, oh, I hate school. But like I remember like when I was younger, like crying on the way to like a doctor's appointment because I was like, Mom, like we haven't done anything this summer. Like I miss school. Like, and then then fast forward to college, I broke my foot, so I missed my freshman year of track, which was tough because I had kind of an up and down high school career when it comes to running. And I had a good senior year too, and I was hungry, man. Like when you're high on it, like dude, you're hungry. And I came in my first week on campus, I broke my foot, but I still had school. I made president's list my first 2 semesters, which is 2 4.0s, and like so I was still fine. Like mentally, kind of, I was bummed I wasn't running, but I still had school because that's what has always been my thing. And so I got those 2 4.0s, and then the big issue was when I came home. Like when that semester was over, it was summer break, and that's like I didn't have school to like take my time away, and like I didn't have the library. I was going to the library like for like 3-4 hours every night and just studying, and then I came home, I didn't have anything, and that's when like my depression started. And like I would like wake up and I would just lay in bed till like 1 o'clock. And that happened for a while until I started working again because I lifeguarded. So the way the pool works around here, it doesn't open till the end of June. So you get off in early May. So I had like a 2-month period where like I just like was just deeply like sad. And then I started working again and I was fine. And then fortunately I came back and I was healthy again next season, so I got to rock and roll. But I completely understand, like, come in, you're pumped, and then things don't go away. But I want to dive into it a little bit. How do you think going to Springville, and not to blame anyone at Springville, because a lot of wonderful people work there, but how do you think kind of going to that small town, and they do kind of pump up our successes a little bit more than they actually were. So how do you think that kind of affected you in that early stage, at least?
I mean,
with going into those 7 losses, because you come off, you're kind of top, you're like, hey, like I'm top dog.
Yep.
And then you come in small fish.
So like being a big fish, like you said, like here in Springville, you're used to like, you know, people saying, oh, how'd you do in that? How'd you do in your last match? Or, you know, adding you on Facebook, commenting on anything, oh, good luck tonight, stuff like that, or even like open up the Springville Journal and there's your face and what you did.
Or the cover, you're on the
and
cover.
In college, it's just like no one even knows my name, and like you gotta kind of like transition into like the phase that I need to get hungry again and I need to make my name, and it's a lot harder to make your name in college than it is in high school. It's not just about, you can work as hard as you want, I'll tell you that right now, but you won't be anybody till, you know, you're going above and beyond, being like the national champ, All-American, stuff that hasn't been done before. I was lucky enough to train with an All-American. We had three my freshman year, I think, 3 or 2, but I got to be in the room with them, and still nobody even knew their name after the All-American. Like, you gotta do something extraordinary. Like our football team, like, sucked, and then when we got there our freshman year, luckily they had good recruiting class. They made the playoffs. They did awesome. And everybody knew the football team. You know, you got to do something like really crazy, I feel like, in college to get your name out there. And to not have it like right away in college is like shit. You know, like it really opens your eyes. And I worked really hard because them 7 losses, like you said, them take a toll on you. Like day in and day out, I was in the room first, I was out of the room last. I was doing the extra stuff like I did in high school because I had talent in high school, but I had to work for a lot of extras to kind of compete with the top dogs. But in college, I still did that same stuff. But I feel like, you know, my senior year, that's what set me apart from most kids in the area. So I took that knowledge and took that drive really to college with me. and then to not have like the recognition, you're just kind of like, you're not used to it, you know, because that gave me confidence moving forward. Like, it's not like a cocky, like, oh yeah, oh here's my face, here's this, people ask me. It's more of like a confidence, like, okay, people are like, you know, paying attention to me. I gotta work harder because they're gonna see what I'm doing, you know. So
kind of people have your eyes, like a role model kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So did you wrestle second year as well, or?
I did not. I only wrestled one.
And why not?
Because I was in the ROTC program, and I tried wrestling and tried doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And the older you get in the ROTC program, the more of a responsibility you have. And I just could not do it because we had Tuesday and Thursday. That were our like lab days where you do like your army training, and we also practice at the same time. So I would be practicing 3 days a week, competing on the weekends. In college, in high school even, 3 practices a week is not enough to keep your weight down, but to keep the skills and stuff. It was just crazy. I could not do it. I tried managing it, but after talking to the coach and the ROTC like instructor, it just wasn't in the best interest to keep going, and that's what really hit me hard.
It kind of took you the sport that you love so much.
Yeah, and realizing like I can't go out on my own terms. You know what I'm saying? And that's what bothered me.
That you couldn't go out on your own terms?
Yeah, like I couldn't be like, okay, I'm done, and accept it. It was kind of like, I'm done. You know?
Yeah.
In different tone.
I get that. It's kind of interesting because the way I look at kind of my success is not through hard work. I actually think I have relied solely on talent for a lot of things, especially school. Like, when it comes to school, I'm gonna tell everyone the secret to school. This is the secret to school. If you memorize the notes, you will get A's, like A pluses. Like, and my memory is insane. Like, so here's one of the things that I remembered, something I want to talk to you about later, because you eventually did leave the ROTC program, correct?
Yes.
I remember senior year, the award ceremony. I remember you getting that nice scholarship for the ROTC. I remember us all standing up, kind of clapping for you. Like, we were pumped, like, awesome. And rightfully so. It was definitely well-deserved. But, like, that's how good my memory is. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, you should remember that, but but so I had always gotten by. To a certain point, school is repetitive. Like, so once you learn the system, you can beat the system.
Oh yeah.
And so I was getting hundreds or 99s on like Regents exams not because I knew the material, because I knew what the raw answers were. Like, I could literally go into the test and I could tell you of the 4 choices, 2 of them are stupid, 2 of them are close. I could tell you why the wrong answer is wrong and why they put it there. Like, because there's some mistake in the way you run it. Like, I literally beat the system. And
I wish I would have known that.
Exactly. But when I tell you like how little I actually learned, especially in college, how little I've actually learned, but still gotten these amazing because I've been awarded my entire academic career for it. Like, those award banquets, like you were like, I was there every year, getting an award, and like, to be honest, I didn't try, dude. Like, and so like I was rewarded for not trying. And so what I'm reading now is this book called Mindset. Something, I don't know what the second name of it is, something to success. And basically, like, I was fed that being successful and not trying is like the sign that you're a genius. And so it's interesting because I was always super successful in my academic career, always, no matter what I was going through, always good. Even in the toughest times of college, like, I was still getting A's, A minuses. But when you look at my athletic career, I had that early success in running too, in like 7th, 8th grade, freshman year of high school, like, because I beat Chad Malloy's his freshman mile time indoors. So I was already like 3 months ahead of him. Like, I was high on life, And like I'm like at that point, like dude, I like emailed Syracuse as a freshman.
Yeah.
D1, like they're sending kids to the Olympics. Like I emailed the coach of Syracuse. Like I was that cocky, dude. I was like, I'm going here. And he emailed me back and said, you can't talk to me till you're a sophomore. But like I was like, dude, I got this. Like, dude, I'm gonna mess some shit up. But I never put any of the hard work in, and so eventually my muscles started to get sore. And when you talk to any professional athlete, successful athlete, and what really opened my eyes was senior year of high school talking to the East Aurora guys, because they're dominant in swimming and they're dominant in running. And I overheard them talking, and the one guy's like, they're talking about leg soreness. He's like, yeah, you know, my legs are sore, but like they've always been. And like it was kind of like an eye opener for me. Like those guys who I have seen as like superhuman feel pain too. But like when I was younger, so like my freshman indoor season is when I beat Chad's time, and then in the outdoor season I started to feel that soreness. And so like I fabricated like an injury in my mind that I was hurt. I was just sore.
Right.
And so like I fabricated an injury, and then I did crap that season because I kind of like skipped runs. Like I was hurt. Like I can't be running. And then the next cross country season was the same way. Then I didn't do indoor the next year, and then I didn't do indoor again. I just always did cross country and track, but like I would skip summer workouts. And eventually I got back to where like I built some solid muscle, and like my whole senior year success is solely because of I swam, because like the dry land for swimming, dude, was unreal. Like, he used to make us do like these jump squats, and so like I finally put on some like thigh muscle, and so like that's why I was super good at the 800, because I finally put on that muscle, and like I was like developed. And truthfully, that's the first time I ever started working hard. I started running 2 a days my senior year, but it was a little too late, too much too late. Right. I mean, I still did well, and I got third of the mile at sectionals, stuff like that. And I was awarded for not trying again. And then especially when I got into college, and it wasn't even like the athletics that broke me, because like it was frustrating. It was incredibly frustrating, because I remember being like a sophomore in high school, and I'd come home like I'd have a bad meet, and I'd come home and be like crying, like oh, I work so hard, like why are these people so beating me? And like that's literally what I'd say, like, dude, I work so hard, like I work so much harder than everybody, which was complete bullshit now that I look back on it.
Yeah,
like
it's easy to say that though.
It's easy to say that in the moment, like, dude, I'm working so hard. No, you're not. Everybody goes to practice.
Yep.
Everybody does. But like that soreness, like I have my rolling stick, the foam roller right here on the ground. Like I could have been on that thing for a half hour, and that would have helped. Like that's what you do to be the best. And so like I had but so where it really caught up to me was in college. And I kind of had that little depressive state after my freshman year, but then I started running again. I started growing again. Like I started working hard. Like, dude, I was working like that's my second year of college, dude. I worked so hard, and I was seeing the results, and it was cool. And I also had a girlfriend at the time. It was my only girlfriend I had in college. And I was growing socially. I was becoming less social awkward. I was able to talk to people more easy. And then like the world, like what I text you, I said, school told me I was perfect, and the world told me I sucked, and that destroyed me. So like I had, to this point, everyone had told me that I was perfect. I was a successful student. Like I was getting 4.0, so that's perfect in college. Yeah. That's perfect. I was doing well in sports, and now I'd take it to the next level, because I'd always been like kind of socially awkward. Now I wasn't. So I was physically strong. I was like emotionally strong, and I was mentally strong, and I was at the apex of my perfection in theory.
Oh yeah.
And then I got cheated on, and I got my heart broken.
Yep.
That took away my emotional health. I started therapy shortly after that happened, because of some of the things that happened there, which we'll eventually get into when we get into the relationships. And then from there, my physical health declined. And and I kind of had some more issues with the track team where I basically got kicked off almost, and then I eventually quit because of all that was happening. So physically I went downhill. I was no longer exercising, just kind of chilling in my room, binge watching Netflix. And like I went from like this perfect individual, and it's funny because like all through high school, like when I got 100 on the geometry regents exam, Miss Bain, the teacher, she called me Mr. Perfect.
I remember that. You were in my class.
Yeah, she called me Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
So like I went 3 years of high school being called Mr. Perfect. And then Mr. Janish after that called me the great and powerful Olrog. and I had him for 2 years. So like I had these people pumping me up.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden like I hit this all-time low, and it was like every little thing. When I was in that low, like, and this is even like a couple months ago, like anything, like if I dropped something, that was me failing. And it would like devastate.
It would be perfect. It would perfection.
It would devastate me, and like I'd just lay in bed for a couple of days, maybe a week, whatever I had, and then I finally would like get up and try again. But dude,
yeah,
it fucked with me bad.
I know.
And it kind of sucks because I wish they wouldn't have given me all those awards.
But you did earn them. You know,
to a degree, I think I earned some of them. But
like you gotta look at it like too, because there's a few instances I feel like the same for me. Like I won MVP for wrestling like 7th, 8th, 9th, missed the 10th grade. And that's really where I started like, okay, I gotta work hard for this.
Who got it then?
It was Pat O'Brien.
Okay.
I mean, I had an awful year. You know, sophomore year, I don't know what the heck happened, and then junior year, I just got my head out of my butt, started working a lot, knew what I needed to do. Senior year took off. So like you need that like 1 year, because I forgot where I heard this from, but I think it was one of my old like coaches that used to train me for wrestling. He said everybody thinks that like life you have to be on top of the mountain, but that's not what it is, because there's an up to a mountain and there's also a down. You're gonna hit them ups and downs. Mm-hmm. Life's just about the climb up there. It's like the Miley Cyrus song, you know.
Life's the climb, yeah.
Yeah, but it is. Life is just the climb.
Yeah.
And
I fuck with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna hit them peaks, but you're also gonna hit them valleys, and you just gotta embrace the climb and like try stopping yourself from hitting that bottom like really fast and hard. You know. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's the biggest thing, and kind of when you're brought up thinking like that you are borderline perfect, which by the way is the single probably most devastating mindset you can have, because it's impossible. Like it's literally impossible. And so like I, in the book they're talking about CEO disease, which is basically perfectionism. And like because it's just not possible. And so like if it's for like it's just tough, because when something small happens, dude, like I've had days ruined by people cutting me off, like seriously, like just ruined, like, which is sad, like because that's like nothing. Like
it's just like little things that
you should
just impact you.
Like if someone were to raise their voice at me, where I thought it was unnecessarily, that could ruin a day. Yeah. Now I'm making progress. That's not like that all the time, thankfully. But like that's kind of the stuff that happens.
See, I was kind of raised and like believed like the total opposite. So like I was kind of always put down in a sense, but not like put down where I'm like feeling like crap, but like put down to like, okay, you're at this level, we're gonna knock you down to this level, build yourself up. You're not perfect yet. And I strove for perfection. So I was like the same as you. Like I needed to be perfect. So like I took the time to perfect every little thing I could do, and every time I got higher, I was always knocked down a few pegs just to go up, and like that's what helped me. But I was still on that strive for perfection, and then when you're out in the real world, like when you're that small fish in that big pond again, that's when you have really nobody knocking you down, because everything's just down, and that's where I was at.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to climb the ladder of Springville. Because I mean, like in my opinion, I climbed it exceptionally fast. Not trying to be bragatory about that at all, but like, especially in running, like there was a long time where I was just flat out the best, and I didn't really have any competition. which, dude, I'm super envious of the team they have now because, dude.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of competition.
Dude, Brett is killing it, man. He just ran 9:42 indoors, which is insane, and the 2 mile, which is freaking nuts.
Wow.
Dude, that's Chad Malloy speed, dude. Like, and so like I would have loved, and even not even that, like Nick and Topher, who have both graduated now, they were 800, 400 runners, which would have been more my speed.
Yeah, we got a wrestler who's running, Jared Hatch.
Yeah.
I guess he's pretty decent at it.
Yeah, he is. He just
Mikey Evans, he can't wrestle no more, but he's running now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I pay attention to it once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They
this
get
track team is unreal.
They're unreal, and see,
girls and boys.
yeah, but see, those kids were so young when I was a senior, so like I don't blame them for not being able to push me, but damn, would I have loved to be like their age and on the team now,
Yeah.
because I do, like, I knew that kind of would have been a kick in the butt, and see, I wish I would have looked at the other schools and that motivated me more. But at the end of the day, truthfully, I just want to kick my best friend's ass on the team.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Like when I was young, and like even like some of the the mile battles Greg and I had in 7th and 8th grade, like, dude, I tried so hard. Like we tried so hard.
Oh yeah, me and Greg got that way in wrestling too. Like sometimes there was fist thrown, but like that's just the way it is, because you'd rather beat your best friend than the opponent.
Like whenever I got to the starting line at a track meet, like I was always trying to be the number one in the purple. Anyone else didn't really care. Everyone in the purple, I'm taking your ass down, or gonna try as hard as can be. Like, well, it's not that I like disrespected them, but like,
no, it's just that friendly competition, and that's. I mean, if you think about it, I don't know how it was for running, but for like, because I played football, baseball, and wrestled, we had some great athletes for like football and especially wrestling, because we got the Ian Baker, we got the Brace Sujic, we had me, Job, we had Josh Ball. Like, I mean, we had great athletes, and like put us in that room together with a good coaching staff that we didn't have. But if you did, it'd have been intense, because you just constantly want to, like, you guys butt heads with each other, and that's what makes you better. Like iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so kind of back to the ROTC thing.
Yeah.
So. This is the Facebook post I was looking for that we joked about earlier, that you have a shit ton of Facebook posts, and I was trying to find it.
I do.
So I remember, like I said, I vividly remember that moment when you received the award. To me, it was a proud moment just to be anyone from Springville to be receiving that. Remember, we all stood up, clapped. And you posted something about leaving ROTC.
Yeah.
And kind of, I don't know if that was some of your darkest times in college, but it was. I remember you posted, "I'm no longer wrestling. I'm no longer on ROTC," and I read the whole thing back then, but it's been a while now. Mm-hmm. I kind of got the vibe that you kind of felt like you let a lot of people down.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, that award night, I had a 3-year paid for.
Yeah.
3 years, I paid my first year. 3 years, coast out, graduate, don't have to pay anything. I had a golden ticket punched. And my last year was my 3rd year. Enough was enough. I couldn't wake up in the morning. All I wanted to do was wake up, sit in bed, lay on the couch. Don't really care about class. Because I didn't have like that drive anymore. It was just like, I exist. You know, like, no one knows, but I just exist.
Yeah.
And
and I wrote about this morning. You're essentially dying because you're living. Don't get me wrong. You're still alive, but you're not actually living life. Mm-hmm. So you want to stay in bed. You really don't want to exist that day. You are just dying. You are surviving till the next day.
Completely believe that, because that's how I was. It was just like, watch Netflix, get bored.
Yeah.
I'll throw on the video game, play some Madden. I'm bored, and you just don't do anything. I was completely content with just staying in my apartment for like days on end, and it was rough. It was a very bad spot. Like, dishes were high. I didn't care about anything. Mm-hmm. It was Taco Bell, it was McDonald's, and that's where I wrestled 141 freshman year, and I was up to like 185. But, like, that just shows you 40 pounds in, like, a few... Just because I was just doing nothing with my life. Mm-hmm. And that's when I kind of just realized that, you know what? ROTC is too much of a commitment for me right now. And it was sad. It's sad because that's really something I wanted to do. And like I said earlier, I had that golden ticket punch, and if I would have just stuck it out like a year, two more, it would have been fine and dandy. But I messed that up myself because I wasn't committed. I didn't want to have any responsibilities. I had no commitments. I just, like I said, like you said, you just die. You're dying inside.
Why do you think you got to that point?
I think not wrestling hurt me a lot because from a young age I've always had to be doing something. I couldn't just like focus on school. So like I use school as like I want to be better than my opponent in everything. You know, not just on the mat or not just on the field. It was like I want to be better than him in grades. I want to be better than him as a community member. I want to be better than him in everything. And that's how you totally defeat somebody, I believe. Yeah. You know, because I did that project my senior year, Jake's Mission. Yeah. Well, when kids like from the other team, when a ref donates his whole paycheck for the night to Jake's Mission, this kid's like, holy crap, this kid's like a good community member. Yeah. And then like he like does a little research on it. Holy crap, you know? And like I'm receiving awards at the class tournament, at sectional tournament, and it's like, holy crap, you know? Like that. Yeah. That's just, I feel like a very like mind battle that he has to face before he even wrestles me. Yeah. Because I'm just a better person than him, and that's how I used to focus on schools. Like my opponent's like, you know, he's studying, he's doing his work. I need to do that. I need to do better. I need to do more than him, and that's how I use school. But then after freshman year wrestling, it was just kind of like school. What now? How do I do this thing?
There was no one to defeat.
Yeah, there was no like drive. There was no like competition. It was just like, what do I do? Because in high school, for me, I knew my opponent. Like I watched his film. I watched him wrestle. Sometimes I traveled out and watched him at different tournaments or matches, and he didn't know about it. Sometimes he did, but I studied him, and I just didn't know my opponents in college because they're all like from like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and I didn't have the time. You know, you can look up something on the computer about him, but like not actually seeing him, not knowing him. Like I had a few kids like articles of their local newspaper plastered on my wall in my wrestling room to motivate me. College, I just didn't know who my opponent was because I wasn't like, yeah, it would be different if I was like nationally ranked. Then I got the people above me. But like high school, it's just like, yeah, I want that kid. I want that kid. You push yourself to beat that kid. And coincidentally, I get in freshman year in my college dorm, not knowing who my roommates are. Walk in the door, I see this big kid. He wrestled for Section 6. He's from Medina, and he's my roommate. So the room next to me, they got in late because we shared those like. There's a bedroom and a common room, so we shared one. Lo and behold, is like my arch nemesis of high school, like the kid that I could not beat, but I wanted to try so bad, and he bumped up the weight class senior year. I think it was to avoid me, but like talking to him, and he actually became like one of my best friends in college. We had a falling out, but like he was that guy that I wanted to beat so bad, and it was like my roommate. It's like, man, and then he's my practice partner. Yeah. And then we kind of just got really close, and just was kind of the rivalry just wasn't there anymore. I had like no competition, so.
Yeah, it's tough when you go from no competition to, it's kind of, so I don't know how much you are, but like I'm not. You sound a lot more self-motivated than I am. Like I solely rely on being accountable to somebody else. And so, like, the way that I was the most successful is, especially in sports specifically, because that's the thing that never came easy to me. That's something I had to actually work hard in, and oftentimes I didn't work hard, was being accountable to my teammates, like my roommates, and the team, and a good coach. If you don't have a good coach, in my opinion, it's kind of out the door, and I liken it to this. I had 2 coaches in college. I had a few coaches in high school. I have nothing but good things to say about those coaches. In college, it's a different story. I had one really good coach. I had one god-awful coach. And I ended up running for the good coach based on I forced my way into that situation because I was not going to run for the other coach. But I explained it to people like this, where if I was having a day where I was feeling lazy and I wanted to skip a workout, I didn't skip the workout if I was with the good coach. And that's because there was a chance that he would ask me if I got the workout done. Odds are he's not going to ask.
Right.
But there's a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to look at that man, because I have that much respect for him, and tell him that I skipped that run.
Don't want to let him down.
Where if it was the other coach, I'd have skipped that run in a heartbeat, and if he would have asked me if I did it, I'd have lied straight to his face, because I didn't give a shit what he thought. But it's just kind of, I always relied on having other people, good leaders, good teammates, to kind of motivate me and keep me working hard, especially when it comes to sports. Now, did you feel that at all? Did you feel like you lost a step once you two became buddies, where you didn't have, like... See, that's a little different, because you were never teammates before. Mm-hmm. He was like your rival.
Yeah.
But so did your self-motivation go down a little bit because he was now...
I think it started going down when I actually started, like, taking him down and getting points. And it's like, I could have beat this kid in high school. I could have beat him senior year. It's like... I know him better than him,
mm-hmm.
and like he has his points on me and stuff, but I just feel like that drive to beat him, to be better than him, just kind of went away when we started becoming friends, and it was just like, oh, practice, okay, and let's go out to eat after,
So that always your ultimate goal, and then that goal is no longer gone, and so you no longer feel the need to work hard.
Yeah, I guess college was just, I never really had goals,
Yeah.
There's a difference between, in my mind, there's a difference between dreams and goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I dreamed of being an All-American. That's what every college athlete dreams of. And then there's goals of how do you get to that dream, Like, I feel like goals are, like, really stepping stones to get
mm-hmm.
to that dream. And I really didn't have any goals because I really didn't know where I stood. I didn't know who was, the top dog, who I'd be wrestling. It was kind of new to me because just the environment, like, going from high school where you know what you have to do, that routine. You go to school. You go to practice. College is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to class. You can go home. You go to class. You can go home for a few hours. You can go eat. Then you go to practice. And then you eat. And then you go to the weight room.
Yeah.
And then by it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to go to the library. So like that routine isn't there. Like I almost need a routine for when I'm competing.
Yeah.
And my routine wasn't matching the college routine at all. Because I was spending, we had a mandatory study hall in the library as a team. It's like 3 nights a week. It was like 8 to 9, and then the weight room 9 to 10. See, that sucked to me because I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning
mm-hmm.
to go to the ROTC. So that's really where it started just being a struggle for me. But when I was competing in season, no problem whatsoever freshman year. Because, I wanted it,
mm-hmm.
So I was up before every single one of my teammates because I was at the ROTC getting a workout in already, then going to class and then working out again, and then going to class and then doing practice, then a study hall, and then a weight room.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, feeling good. And, like they said, the 7 losses, it kind of beat me down a little bit. But, you need that kind of, I kind of feel like I needed that push down from high school to kind of just lift myself up. And I think if I would have kept at it in college and had them goals
mm-hmm.
and them stepping to get to that dream, I could have accomplished it. I really do.
Now, so I'm reading another book at the same time, which is a terrible idea. But it's called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. It's by Jordan Peterson, somewhat of a controversial figure. But anyways, he talks about life and being successful in life. And that's to have purpose. He doesn't say it's necessarily to be happy, but it's to have purpose, because and I don't want to mess this up, but he necessarily doesn't believe that you can truly be happy without having a purpose, which I do think happiness and purposefulness do go hand in hand. But he says that the way for that purpose, and so there's chaos and order in the world, and it's like a yin-yang relationship. You have the black, which is your chaos, with the white dot, which is the order, because you can always get order out of chaos. And then you have order, which is the white with the black dot, and the black dot symbolizes that you can always have chaos out of order. Too much order is chaos. Like he uses the example of a concentration camp. That's extreme order, but it's also chaos because it's terrible. But you can also have extreme chaos that's ordered. And by walking the line of that yin and yang is where you reach purposefulness, where your life becomes meaningful, where you really enjoy life. And so when I look at my experiences and when I was on fire, I mean, absolutely freaking pumped to be alive. Now I'm not saying I'm jumping out of bed at 5 like let's get it, because that never happened, because I hate the mornings. I'm not a morning person. But like I thoroughly enjoyed life my second year of college, like to the fullest. And this really makes sense because I was walking that, in my mind, that border between chaos and order. My life was probably the most chaos it had ever been, but it was also the most structured, because I had to wake up before 6. I had to be in the weight room by 6. I had to be fully warmed up and start my lift by 6:30. That lift would usually take like an hour and a half, which would take me around 8 o'clock. And at 8, a little after 8, I had to start work at the pool. I taught swimming lessons, so I went immediately from a morning lift. Went super sweaty. Luckily, it was in the same building. I went and taught swimming lessons. I taught swimming lessons. I had 15 minutes to eat breakfast and shower, and then I went to class. And then I had 3 classes in a row, and then I had a short break where I could grab lunch, and then I had another class. And about that time, I had afternoon practice at 4, and then afternoon practice, I went immediately to dinner. I went back to my room. I showered, and then I had a girlfriend. I kind of did homework, hung out with her, and usually went to bed around 1 in the morning.
And woke up at 5.
And woke up. So I was getting between 4 to 6 hours of sleep, which is not a lot. But dude, I was on fire. Like I literally was pumped.
Well, I think when you feel good, like it's easy to get out of bed compared to like when you're feeling like shit. You know, like. Am I allowed to swear in this? I don't know.
Yeah, I already said the F word. Okay. I don't think you heard it.
No, but like, you know, like when you're feeling like crap and it just almost feels better just to stay in bed. It's hard to explain because people that don't understand are like, get out and do something, you know?
Yeah.
And like you'll feel better. Not necessarily, because I just kind of like want to keep it to myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to struggle after freshman year of wrestling. It was just like, okay, this bed's kind of nice. I kind of might just stay here because it's like safe. You know, like I don't gotta go face the world today.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did you ever have negative internal self-talk? Like, because the way that I had always, and see, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this stuff and why I'm probably going to get obnoxious on social media saying about my depression and stuff to the point where people are like probably going to think that I want attention for it. But I truly want to end the stigma.
Oh, me too.
About depression, because I was the person that held the stigma. A younger me did tell myself that you're just being a little bitch. Mm-hmm. Like, depression's not a real thing. Like, you are literally just being a pussy. Like, suck it up.
Yeah, you're having a bad day. Yeah.
Walk your ass out the door and do your shit. Get it done. That's what everyone does. But it's not. It's not like that. It's. I still struggle to call it a disease, even though it is, because it definitely is a disease. But it is. It's a chronic disease, and like it requires treatment, and it requires a lot of work to be cured, like any disease. Mm-hmm. But it is a real thing, and like there was a long time where like I wouldn't talk about it, like where I was actually depressed and I never told anybody. And it's kind of interesting, you know, Kevin Love, when he posted that essay, when I read that essay when it came out, like the day it came out, and that essay made it okay for me to be depressed, because I was for a while depressed at that point, and seeing him like someone that was supposed to be the pinnacle of success, and he had severe anxiety and depression, and that shortly after that is when I told my mom that I needed to talk to somebody for the first time. And that was kind of before something spiraled, but it gave me the validation that I needed to say, hey, this is okay. Like, it's okay to feel like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
So I forget where I was going with that, but that's, yeah. So the negative self-talk, did you ever have that? Did you ever like put yourself down?
I think there was always like a voice in the back of my head that was like, you can do better than this.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You're being lazy. And it was like I was listening to it. You know, when you're in a really dark spot, it's kind of like I was never depressed. I don't have depression, but like I just had like a really rough patch. Is what I like to call it, because I was able to like control what I was doing. Like if I needed to get out of bed for something, and I really thought I needed to, I would do it. But if I needed to do something, it was just like, I could probably not go. Come up with some excuse, I would not go. You know. But I was able to do that, and I wasn't like depressed to the point where I needed like the help. And like studying it and stuff, because I studied psychology, I kind of had that knowledge of like the science of what to do with it.
Yeah.
And if it ever got to the point where I need to talk to someone, I always talk to somebody. So like before I like just sat there in my thoughts, that negative talk, listening to it, I had my friends, I had my brother, I had my parents that were just like open to it, because I was always like raised. I wasn't so much raised, but I always believed that, like you said, come on, suck it up, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're being a wimp. Like, just get your ass out of bed, go. And then you kind of just like, when you don't have like, I guess someone there. For me, it was like my parents were a big help for me, and my brother. If I saw them doing something, I wanted to go do it. Like my brother hopped out of bed early in the morning, I wanted to get out of bed early in the morning. Like my mom and dad were up doing something, I couldn't just lay in bed. Like the only time we were in our bedrooms as kids is at nighttime, when we were supposed to go to bed. So like we were never really up in our rooms, always doing something. So it helped us out as kids. We really didn't like play around in the room. We were really just sitting there. So moving around and stuff. And then when you get to the real world, it's just kind of like, no one's telling me to get out of my room. Yeah. I can sit here in bed for a little longer, and then you just stay there. And like, I'm sorry I'm going off topic, but yeah, the negative thoughts, they definitely were in the back of my head. And like throughout the years, I have been listening to them a little bit more. Like, maybe I am just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I am let down. Maybe you know, maybe it's right. You know, that little devil on your shoulder telling you, like, you know, you're a bum. Yeah, maybe I am a bum. I work, 10-hour days now in a factory making air cylinders. Was I ever supposed to be here? No.
Exactly.
Not at all. And I feel like that's what, like, listen to that little, like, guy on my shoulder telling me, like, you're a bum, that's what put me here. Because I'm doing that, and I'm not, reaching my full potential,
Now, when you say you weren't supposed to be here, now, is that something that you believe you manifested, that you shouldn't be there? Or do you think that was something that people manifested, that you need to be something great, and you didn't reach that?
I think a little bit of both. I think that coming from a small town, they have a lot of expectations for you, telling you need to be here. They expect you're here because, like, they see your awards. They see I received a 3-year scholarship, all paid for, room and board, everything. I should be somewhere, I shouldn't be working 10-hour shifts in a factory. Like, I should have a degree at the end of this year. Like, I'm done with college. I didn't graduate with a degree. Like, I've just had enough of it because I need that little break. I need to get my stuff back going, and I need to, like, patch my head up a little bit, figure out where I'm going. Need a direction again. So, I guess, what was I saying? Talking about?
Whether you manifested that you're not where you're supposed to be, or other people did for you.
Okay. Yeah, so, like, the big thing is I believe I listened to them in a sense of I should be here, and I believed it. And I really wasn't formulating what I wanted to do with my life. And my life had a little bit of different direction than what they expected. And I think that little gray area between what I wanted and what they wanted and what they expected and I expected, that little gray area put me down. Because I was just right there. I didn't know who to listen to. Like, should I be wrestling like everybody's telling me to be? Should I be in the UFC like everybody's telling me to be? Even if it's not what I want to do. And I kind of listened, and I kind of faded back and forth, and that's where I just kind of dropped off because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a direction. So it was a little both. I think listening to what I wanted to do and listening to what they wanted to do just wasn't a good mixture.
Yeah. And see, along the same lines, I was always that intellectual power that I was in school academically, and when you're an intellect like that, you're supposed to go to college. Like, I remember getting pulled into a meeting with the principal wanting to send me to an engineering camp
Yeah.
because I was good at math. And I was like, but I don't want to be an engineer. Like, people had, like, already started planning my life for me. I remember for the longest time, dude, the things I wanted to be when I grew up, when I was little, I wanted to be a professional football player. I wanted to play for the Buffalo Bills.
I got one for you. You want to know what I wanted to be? This is no lie. I wanted to be a garbage man and ride on the back of the trucks.
Dude.
That was my dream. Like, that's what I wanted to be. I had like I don't know what grade. It was like what you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah.
That was it. And I still laugh at this today because it's like, I could get that job. Probably pays better than this one. Like,
I guess.
you know?
But I always wanted to be that professional football player. I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. After that, I think I wanted to be an Olympic athlete for track. Even to like I was saying that stuff like even like my freshman year of high school. Like I said, because I remember a teacher asked like, I want to be an Olympian, and it was kind of funny because I remember one of the football players was in my class, and so he said his, and it was like a real job. And someone thought, oh, I thought you'd put like a professional football player. And they're like, no, I didn't want to be childish. And that kind of hit me. I'm like, well, I mean, my dream's not really childish. Like, that's actually what I want to do. And then for a while, I started telling people that I want to be a professor, like a fisheries professor, like at a college, which is not at all what I want to do because that sounds terrible. Mm-hmm. But like, I think my mom put it in my head, and then like it was a real job, and people like shook their head like, oh yeah, that makes 6 figures. Like, you're smart. Like, that's what you should do. And that's not what I wanted to do. And I kind of think about it a lot where like in reality, like, I probably didn't want to go to college. Like, I think I probably would have liked to move around, like kind of what I'm doing now.
Traveling a little bit,
exploring
different things.
Like, I literally, like when I think about it, like I literally could have gone to like a fly shop in Montana and worked for the summer and lived there, and I wouldn't have had any debt. Like, I could have paid off without having to pay back 40 grand and like kind of done Beyond the River. I say that, but I wouldn't have gotten to this point in my life without college and some of the struggles I've had. So I'm a little iffy there because I do think I've gained a lot from being in college, not necessarily what a lot of people would have thought I would have gained, because now I work at Walmart. Like you said, you work at the, like, I fucking work at Walmart.
Yeah.
Like, overnight. Like, and like, there was a long time, and even still a little bit, I get weird about seeing people in Walmart.
Oh yeah, I know. And like seeing like people like, oh, what are you doing now? How's school going?
Like,
that's the big question for me. I mean, you graduated, but like, oh, did you finish school? Yeah, I'm done. I didn't finish.
Yeah.
Well, did you get a degree? No. And like, that's just weird to explain. Like, because they have that like society, like you said, like you get like, oh, professor, 6 digits. Society just has that influence on you, and it's hard not to listen sometimes, you know, because you want to do good enough for them, but when you should really do good for yourself, I think, and that's really I think what you're trying to capture too with this is do what you want, because that's what's going to make you happy in the long run. You know, instead of just listening to what society tells us.
Yeah, and the reason I ended up going into fisheries biology rather than something like engineering, because I was always exceptionally good at math. My grandfather repeated over and over, and he still says this to this day. He says, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's always stuck with me. That's the reason I went into fisheries, because I still got that degree like people wanted me to get. And dude, when I work fisheries, like I work outside, like dude, I don't get paid shit. Like, I'm getting paid more at Walmart than I was getting paid working with fish. And dude, it's just so much fun. Like, it's such a great job. Like, it's really not though. Like, it's such a terrible job. Like,
but you enjoy it.
Yeah,
And that's
like,
what counts.
yeah.
You know. So, I mean, that's payment enough, I think, because I kind of was raised with like the same idea, and like if it wasn't for that scholarship, I probably wouldn't be going to college, to be honest. Like, my family's not very wealthy, so I didn't have that, you know, college fund that they just put money into. It was like, all right, 18, you're out of the house, you're on your own. You figure out what you want to do with your life. You gotta pay in your own bills. You gotta get your own car. You gotta pay in your own car. You gotta get your own phone. Like, yeah, there's help when I needed it,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, for the most part, I was kind of on my own, and I didn't want to go to college. I felt like society kind of pushed me there, and I was like, okay, I got another chance to wrestle. That's really about only the reason why I went to college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to have fun, you know. I just got out of high school. It's like I've been studying since kindergarten. I mean, not kindergarten, you're studying, but like, you know, you're going through grade school, you go through middle school, you go through high school. I just want a break, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me just enjoy life. And you don't get that chance. You enjoy life when you retire, and by that time, you're too old.
Yeah.
So, like, because you always got to be constantly working to keep up with everything, because it's crazy.
That's why you got to pick something that you enjoy. Yeah.
And, like, for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just, like, I liked psychology in high school. I liked my psychology teacher. Psychology has stuff to do with people. I like talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
But why do I need a degree to talk to somebody and help them through a rough time?
Yeah.
But to society, I do need that degree. That's the problem that I hit, and that's what caused me to drop out of college. It was like, is this worth it? Is this worth another year of like $17,000 just to get a piece of paper to tell me I can help you?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's what I struggled with, on top of everything else.
And see, that's interesting because I'm now working with my second therapist because I had one, and then I had a break, and it was super funny because she's a female. This other one was a male. It's a little kind of weird going into that situation. I don't know why, but like I remember my first appointment with her, like I just felt like, and like because I'm kind of judgmental in a way, and I just felt like I'm smarter than you. Like I just sat there and like I felt like that. Like, what are you really doing for me right now? I almost wanted to question her qualifications.
Yep.
But what I didn't realize is that just by setting up the appointment, I had already thought through what I wanted to go through and kind of answered a lot of questions for myself before I even got there. So I just needed somebody to think out loud with.
Yeah.
So that first appointment, I remember telling her, like, I'm not really sure what I got out of this. And she's like, well, I mean, I don't really know how much you were supposed to get out of it. And so I kind of gave her a second chance. And my last appointment, like, we just kind of talked the whole time. It was really relaxing. And for anybody that is going to talk to somebody, like, see a therapist, the thing I would warn is it's a lot like getting, like, a massage or, like, I'm trying to think where you feel like shit the day after. Like a massage or any, like getting a knot out. Like, I don't know if you ever had one of those medical massages. Like, dude, those suck. Those suck, dude.
Yeah.
But like, you end up feeling terrible the day afterwards. Like, literally, you're like, dude, this sucked. Like, that didn't do anything for me. But it's the same thing when you get a massage. I remember my grandma saying this, that she always feels sick the day after she gets a massage, and that's because your body, when you get the massage, you all of a sudden are releasing all these toxins. So you need to drink a lot of water to flush those toxins. It's the same way when you talk through a problem like that. You have now released it, and those toxins are floating around and they haven't been expelled yet. So you will feel kind of terrible the next day. But more so back on kind of where you are now versus where people expected you to be or where you expected you to be. Or where we expected ourselves to be. Back to that kind of self-talk, kind of self-hate thing. Kind of like there's a saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, which is bullshit. That's the statement. It's completely bullshit. But
I think words hurt more.
Words hurt more.
Get hit with a stick and rocks.
Yeah, but where that statement really gets serious is when those hurtful words are coming from yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's when shit gets really serious. That's when you need to take a step back, whether it be talk to a friend or just, some people can self-evaluate themselves. But I do kind of wonder if everybody could benefit from therapy. And here's my theory. My theory is, if you go, it doesn't work for you, you're good. Now you might say, well, they're going to find something and fuck me up. Well, no, if they found something, you were already fucked up. Right. You just didn't address it. So there's that whole theory. I know nothing else, but that's just kind of a thought I had.
An interesting theory. I mean, studying psychology, I never really thought about that. I thought about, like, what if we actually... I feel like therapy sometimes, depends who your therapist is, it can be a joke. It can be a total waste of time. It can be like talking to a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this sheet and be like, are you this today? Tell me about your, like different little things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're reading off a sheet that I could look up on Google.
Yeah.
And that's not therapy. Like, I think like actual, like, sitting down with someone, explaining what's going on, listening to them thoughts, expressing what them thoughts are trying to say, analyzing it. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good therapy.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned in school, but I don't have the degree to help anybody. You know? And that's what sucks. I'm 1 year away where I could help somebody.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't want to do it underneath the system.
Yeah.
Because it is a system. Like.
Yeah. And it's funny because you see how TV portrays it.
Oh yeah.
Like, and so I laugh whenever I see it like on TV or in a movie. I'm like, that's not what it's like.
Oh no.
Not at all. Like. It's just not. It's not like you're laying on the couch like, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
That statement has never been uttered in any meeting I've ever had with any counselor, ever.
Yep. I always remember when I think of like therapy and like quality of the therapy versus like the quantity, I always think of the movie Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are listening and have not seen this, watch that movie. That shows you like everybody can be helped, even like the complete geniuses that see through all the therapist bullshit. Like he was sitting on the couch and he's like, tell me about this, and he starts singing a song just to make a joke out of it because he's a genius. He has like photographic memory. But it takes like Robin Williams to actually really dig deep into him. And them therapists I think are kind of rare. But I also believe like through studying and stuff, everybody can be a therapist. I think everybody has somebody that they can talk to, and it's just how well they listen and how well they help them.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has the qualities possessed to be a therapist in a sense.
And I mean, and even just listening, just saying it out loud. Fuck you. Even just saying it out loud has power to like get rid of it, like getting those toxins out. And it's funny because I kind of compare myself to Good Will Hunting in a way because. I kind of see myself as that genius, which I have called myself a genius quite frequently. I'm not. I just memorize facts and can spit them back to you. That's how, like I said, that's how you beat the system. Right. That's how you do good. Without hard work and Good Will Hunting, he would never put in the hard work.
Oh, no.
Which, when you hear about his history and stuff, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, but when you don't put in the hard work, so the book I'm reading, there's two mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The growth mindset is a hard worker, sees failure as an ability to learn. The fixed mindset sees failure as they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, and you can't change that. You're fixed. You're just that smart, and that's it. You can't be any better, you can't be any worse. You're fixed, you're stuck there. And so I thought about this today, and I'm going to make this extreme claim that I think you're going to enjoy as a football fan. I don't know if you're going to agree with it or not.
Okay.
But personally, I believe that Tom Brady is probably less talented than 50% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Less talented. But the reason he's the greatest of all time is because he's the hardest working.
I will agree to that. I will. As a Bills fan, I will agree to that.
Yeah, and see, and I say that with a grain of salt because I obviously hate Tom Brady playing against him, but I have a lot of respect for the dude.
Yeah.
And he's definitely there's no doubt he's the greatest of all time.
Oh yeah, he is.
But truthfully, and I think Tom would agree to this, that he is talent-wise probably in the bottom 50th percentile, where he is not super talented, but he
wasn't even in his draft class either.
And that's my main point, because if he was talented, he would have been drafted first round.
Oh yeah.
That's where all the talented athletes go. Mm-hmm. But all those talented athletes that suck, they don't work hard.
Yep. And them are slowly fading out as them like undrafted, kind of like underdogs,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you have to be like a great athlete to beat anybody in the league anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why that has to do with anything, but I feel like hard work is limited, like in individuals, and it's slowly decreasing over time. That people just don't recognize that if they actually tried hard and did what they enjoy. Like for Tom Brady's instance, he loves football, he loves the game, does not want to stop playing even after all his accolades. Like, he's still going on because he's hungry. You know, he has that drive. He enjoys football.
He's never let the awards define his success.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he truly believes he's the guy he was on day one, even though he had 6 rings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He I forgot where I was reading it. It was like a little documentary. It was like TB12 about him. His diet's crazy. His training's like super intense. Like, the dude does not have an off season because the older he gets, the harder he works, because he's got to compete with the Patrick Mahomes, them type of athletes. You know what I'm saying? And like, he's not too far off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like, you look at Kansas City and all of that talent. Then you look at Tom Brady and his talent. He's got really no talent. He makes that talent.
Makes it, yeah.
Like, he could take a lacrosse player and Chris Hogan and make him something. You know, Buffalo couldn't do that. They had him the year before.
Yeah. Dude, I was at the game where it was 4th down, and we went for it, and Tyrod Taylor dropped a dime. I mean, for Tyrod Taylor, dude, that's impressive. Like, that doesn't happen every day. He drops a dime right through Chris Hogan's hand, and it was a touchdown. It was a touchdown 100% of the way, dropped it. But something else that kind of solidified that for me was when James Harrison went to the Patriots from the Steelers, and he let out in the media that, you know, he had always, as a Steeler, and anyone in the AFC, they want number 12. They don't like that guy.
Oh no!
Like, they don't like number 12 on the Patriots. Yeah. And he walked into that system, and he was like, wow. Like, and think about all those training videos of James Harrison with the freaking chains and the freaking just jacked, and for him to say that, like, that's how you just know that dude works so hard. But kind of my point in bringing that up is there's always a way to get better, whether you're mentally weak, physically weak, emotionally weak, socially weak. Like, you're not limited by that. And I think I've always been kind of stuck in a fixed mindset just because I was praised. And that's there's a study where those kids that are praised for their success are more often develop a fixed mindset. But those who are praised for their hard work, and it's as simple as saying congratulations versus saying congrats for working so hard. Just saying that difference. There's a study that some people develop a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So I'm super fascinated now with mentality, and because there's a book there on the floor, it's called Modern Streamers for Trophy Trout, even in fly fishing. Like, dude, chapter 1, some of like the first couple pages are talking about mentality.
Oh yeah.
Like, really? Yeah. But dude, it's such a core part of everything that you do, and especially with mental health, I think you got to adjust your mentality.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to see and like I said, easier said than done, 100%. But you got to start to see those failures, especially someone like me who is kind of struggling where they feel they need to be perfect. Well, first you got to realize perfect doesn't exist. Second, you got to realize so one of the things that really messed me up is I got into 2 car accidents, and that second car accident, it was no longer my car, it was my mom's car. I messed up, which one, I felt like a burden to my family, and I didn't talk to anyone for a week. That was a really bad week. You gotta see, like, hey, like, I could have handled that situation better. You know, it wasn't necessarily my fault. There was some issues with some street signs, but when you say that it's not your fault and move on, you're not learning anything, and you're doomed to repeat that same instance. So you need to look at that situation and say, hey, I could have done this better, and it may be just a small thing. And like, even something as dropping something on the ground, like, hey, I just need to focus, or maybe you just need to relax a little bit more. Sometimes we get so tense, and like, we make mistakes just because we're so tense, and like, you're bound to mess up when you're so like tight.
Oh yeah.
And when you break, when you're tense, you tear because you're that tense. So there's definitely a lot to be learned. And
I think I'm starting to find my way out, luckily. But a big thing for me was finding like the little things. Like, I got out of the apartment today. Good. Okay, the next day. Oh, I got this done. I got my laundry done today. Oh, I did my dishes today. Good. Boom. Like, little things that I feel like I needed to hold on to them little things. Like, oh, I got a job. oh, I got that paycheck. Oh, I got promoted. Oh, boom, I got transferred to a different department. Oh, I got a customer service award. Like, them little things, like, I feel like the more, like, little steps that you hold on to, the easier it is to crawl your way out of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was for me. Like, I got luckily had the opportunity coming back home. Unfortunate circumstances, but I still got to come home because that's what I needed. I needed my home. I needed the small town feel again. And I'm slowly starting to dig myself out again. Like, I got an awesome job, awesome benefits and overtime opportunities. I'm now coaching wrestling. Like, I have them little things I'm just holding on to because they weren't there, like, a few months ago.
Yeah.
So, for me, that was, like, it was easier to just hold on to the little things rather than dwelling on, like, oh, shit, I slept past my alarm or I shut off my alarm because I wanted extra sleep or I wanted to watch this on Netflix. Like, I don't hold on to them. Like, they still happen. You still have them days, but like you got to hold on to that. The little things, the climbing way out.
Yeah,
you know?
and see, that's interesting. You mentioned coming back because I was super kind of bummed out when I first came back. I felt like it was a major step back, but it was kind of funny. I ran into Mr. Russell at Walmart, and I was embarrassed. I'm wearing that Walmart uniform. He goes, "What's up, superstar?" And I'm like, just grinning, like, yeah. And then he invited me to run with the track team a little bit, which was terrible, dude. I was so out of shape. And, dude, I didn't have the heart to tell him I was out of shape. And I swear to God, he still thought I was in high school. Because he's, like, running sprints. And, like, he thought I caught them because he was, like, having me chase because I was running shorter than they were. And he's like, you can stop when you hit the last one. And so, dude, I made it halfway. And I didn't gain an inch. And so I just cut my losses. I stopped. And so the punishment was to do burpees. And so I'm doing my burpees. He's like, oh, you didn't catch him? I was like, no. He's like, oh, I thought you got him. I'm like, no, I saw I didn't get anything, so I just stopped. But it was cool because there was a moment in those practices where we did a circuit workout. And, these guys kind of surpassed everything that I had done in high school, which I had expected. Those guys were been together for a long time and just incredible individuals and hardworking. But we did the row machine, and Mr. Russell challenges me. He's like, 6:14 is the record on the row machine in 3 minutes, 6:14 meters. So I'm like, okay. Like, he challenged me this, and so this ends up being the last thing in the circuit. So he somehow puts me. He's supposed to put this as my second. He sometimes puts it that's the last thing I'm doing. So I have to like run on a treadmill, do an elliptical, run on a treadmill again, do 3 minutes of plank, and then jump rope for 3 minutes, and then do the stair machine, and then I have to do this. He's stacking the odds, but I hop on that thing, dude. I felt that hunger again. Like, it's interesting coming back to the hometown. Dude, I felt it again. I remember I closed my eyes to do it because I knew if I stared at the screen, I was going to get in my head. Just like I had the days before that, I was going to get in my head. I was going to talk myself down, but I closed my eyes. And, like, I started, and I was going. And Brett Russell, he was paired with me. He's on the bike next to me. He's like, it's all about the negative split. It's all about the negative split. You gotta pace yourself in the beginning, come back hard, which is not the athlete I am. I'm kind of the go out hard and like, because I'm not gonna out sprint you. I'm gonna run you to death. That's my strategy. That's always kind of been my strategy, and it's been successful. It's also been unsuccessful. But Brett's always been that come from behind guy, but I was getting down to like a minute left, and someone said, is he even on full? Like, is the machine all the way maxed? Because you can't get the record if it's on maxed, because it's easier on the easy setting. And Brett goes, no, it's not maxed. And like, dude, a fire lit inside me because it was on max. Like, I wasn't taking anything. I was going for it. A fire lit inside me, and like, dude, my eyes open. I turned to him and I said, bitch, I ain't no little, like, I'm on max, dude. And I was fired up and I'm pumping. He goes, time. Look at the screen, 6:09. Dude, I missed it by 5. And the cool thing was I wasn't disappointed because I never thought I was going to get that close. I didn't think I was going to get that close. But, dude, I had it in me. Dude, I had that young gun in me still. It was cool. And so coming home, kind of feeling that again, like, since then, it has pumped me up. Like, not that I've been perfect ever since, but, dude, It's cool. Like,
Oh yeah,
kind
I
of
love being home now.
Yeah.
I thought, like you said, when you first get here, it's like this is a huge step backwards. Like I want to get out of here, cause like that you're so looking forward to getting out of Springville, like growing up,
Mhm.
and now it's like, wow, this town really has a lot to offer. And I don't know if I don't want this to sound wrong, but like crave the attention
Mhm.
because you don't. I think it just like
you
for
feed
me,
off of
you
it.
just you feed off it
Mhm.
and you do way better. Like you envy like that attention to put yourself at a higher pedestal, and that will drive you to like work harder. Because once again, like I said earlier in the conversation, people are watching you now.
Mhm.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, they weren't watching you in college. They were just he's on his own. He'll come back in a few years and tell us how good he's doing. But now they're watching me again, so now I gotta work harder. I gotta be better. And I think if I get that mentality back, I gotta figure out a way to go over the next hump with keeping that mentality.
Mhm.
And I know I'm probably not gonna stay here forever. I hope I don't stay here forever.
Yeah.
Like I want to go somewhere else and start a life and a family. But right now I just need that hunger, need that drive again, and that's what being home has helped me out a lot. Because it really happened like you had that instance of track. For me, it was this little kid, never met him before, on the wrestling team, has one of my Jake's Mission shirts on.
Yeah.
I'm like, come over
It's
here,
real,
and it's
yeah.
like, holy crap, I don't even know this kid.
Yeah.
He's like, he knows me already, for that like I'm like a big brother almost. Like I'm like that hero, like that mentor, and it's
Mhm.
like, holy crap. And then they love being in the room with me. They always talk to me. It's like always picking in my brain for extra knowledge. What can I do here?
Mhm.
I had kids come over to my house just to watch film. Like them little things. It's like I feel like I'm needed here. I'm
Mhm.
important. And I didn't have that in college. I was just kind of
Yeah.
like
You
in
have-
my shell.
You have that purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That drive.
Because you're making an impact, and not only that, because I think all of us make an impact, but whether you make it positive or negative is truly what defines you. And you're making that. Dude, Jake's Mission is an incredible thing, and especially for that young kid to see, hey, maybe he goes on and he does something similar.
Yeah.
Like that's all you could ever ask for.
Yeah. Lo and behold, I guess he had like a brother that went there.
Yeah. And
Like for that, to him, like admire
Yeah.
you for doing that for his little brother. Like that was cool.
that's awesome. Yeah. That's something we need more of for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
So we are closing to an end. We're going to have more of these, so we'll have plenty more conversations. Just one piece of advice you'd have for anyone going through something similar to what you did, just kind of to close.
I think if you're going through something right now, don't feel alone. Like that, it's very easy to feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not alone. And I feel like that sounds cliche. Everybody says that, but you're not. Like even like the top dogs, like me and Tyler, we feel it too. We're right there
Mhm.
with you. We're struggling too, and you're gonna hit that. Like I said earlier too, life's like a mountain. You're gonna hit your peaks, you're gonna hit your valleys, but it's about to climb. You gotta embrace that and learn from it, because you just gotta prevent the hard crash down. And that's probably my best advice. Just know that you're not alone and embrace the climb.
Yeah, and I was going to add a piece of advice, but that's perfect. I'm going to leave it at that, because that's the whole point of what we're going to do with this and the ones that come is, to show people that they're not alone. Like this stuff happens to people, and this stuff happens to a lot of people. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that it happens to that many people, but shit's real.
Oh, it is.
And it's
Someone needs to talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like, because like when I go on social media and stuff, I know it's like it's a bad, but I think you posted something about it too. Like
Yeah.
people have like these like, oh, I'm so happy. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so happy. No, you're not. No,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah,
Like you don't got a front. Like
you're cheesing when
Yeah.
you're really like crying.
yeah,
When it's-
where were you like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, you're nowhere to be found. Okay. Yeah. But I feel like I'm glad that you're bringing attention to it. You're bringing light to it, and I hope that this sparks a little interest in what we got going on. And it's a really awesome thing. It hits close to my heart, and I hope that people can just erase the stigma of like it's bad, like
Yeah.
it happens. It's life, It's
And what's cool, because kind of the target audience for this is going to be people like our age and like under 30, is, I don't know about you, but I'm incredibly grateful that this has all happened to me at this age, because I have so much time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So much, like, even like not getting the degree, dude, you have so much time to get that degree if that's what you want to
Yeah.
do. So much time to figure out what you want to do, and it's when people put that pressure on you, it's hard to see that. But dude, we have so much time, and just I'm so excited to do these next few ones and just share all this stuff
It'll
with
be
them.
really cool. So, like, one thing I like to add, if you, like, I know, like, you post these everywhere and stuff, but for people that are listening, I know you got, like, you know, like, you got your target audience and stuff, but share this stuff out, because, you know, like, you might have, like, one of your followers that need to hear something like this, that need to hear that they're not alone, that they're struggling and need something like this, and they can pass it on to somebody that needs to hear it. So I don't want to sound like, you know, the regular YouTuber podcaster, but share it out there, because it's important. It's great advice from us too. We've been through it. We're still going through it, but just embrace the climb and know that you're not alone. And that's really all I got. So
yeah, I appreciate it, man. And guys, that's gonna do it for the very first episode of Finding Yourself. I hope you all, if you are struggling, have found some value in this, and please never give up the fight. And if you know somebody that's struggling, be a hero. Talk to them, reach out, do your thing. It means the world. It can literally save a life. Be a hero. So it's gonna do it, and we'll see you guys super soon.